Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactics.
Yo, it is just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Umar. How you bros doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Doing
It's
good.
Friday.
Yeah.
Happy it's Friday for me.
Oof. Ooh, I like that. Happy is
Yeah.
Friday. That's good. I
Happy
like
it's
that.
Friday, yes. All right, we got a bit of another stacked set of agenda. Shall we jump right in?
Let's do it.
Mhm.
All right, just a quick piece of housekeeping for those of you who are new to the channel and who are not watching us live. Please check the description for the timestamp for the topic that you want to go to. Just click right there; you'll go right to it. All right, started off with a trailer that dropped, if I believe correctly, it was yesterday, having to do with the Spider-Man 2 game for PS5. Now, I'm not one for video games. I know it's weird. I don't know why. It's just, I don't know why.
Cause you lame.
No, it's not that I don't enjoy them. It's just that I just never really had. Maybe it's because my parents didn't let me have them when I was a kid. Anyway, nonetheless,
We're having a moment here.
yeah, I went into like a deep dive psychoanalysis point. I'm like, what is my reason behind it? Anyway, I'm not huge into gaming. However, that was one dope motherfucking trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, I'm gonna toss this to Darcy because he's our resident game player when it comes to the Spider-Man games. Unless T, am I misrepresenting you? Do you play the
Not
game?
at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
All right, Darcy, I'm gonna volley it to you, man. How about you lead this analysis?
Yeah.
Or trailer
So
reaction, I should say.
Yeah, so they dropped a trailer for Spider-Man 2, and one thing I gotta say right out of the gate is now, I played Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales like post them coming out because they came to PC later, and I got a PC and I don't have a PlayStation 5, but I've loved them. Like I don't really like playing single player campaign games, but I kept hearing about how amazing they were. I jumped in on that first one when it came to PC out of interest, fell in love with it, and like it's just a thing now. And so I don't remember when they dropped them that they put out like a story-based trailer for the first two games. Maybe a little bit for Miles Morales, but I feel like I remember them being more like hinting, like most video games where they show you a lot of clips, they show you a lot of things that interest you, but you don't feel like you get like a movie kind of trailer. And this was like a movie kind of trailer. Like they were telling you story points about how Craven's going to be in it, showing you Venom, like not just the Venom when he's on Spider-Man, but like when he becomes full Venom, showing you Harry Osborn is going to be in there, but not showing you anything related to the Green Goblin. But I mean, like the Venom is looking on point. So, and I'm also, if Green Goblin's in here and we get that cackle in the game, oh, because I'm telling you, when you're playing this game, these games are very highly immersive, and they really give you this feeling of being actually Peter Parker or Miles Morales in New York City, because like there's mechanics in the game that I think is really interesting, because like for instance, when you have like a game like Grand Theft Auto, you would have these like side missions that would always be hitting you up like on a phone, trying to get you to do the next thing. Whereas this, it's always very immersive. Like this, you're always getting a phone call and you automatically answer it. You don't have to like manually do it, and it really keeps you in there. So when I see like this version of like Venom and whatnot, and you end up some point having to play, like you're going back and forth between Miles and Peter, and you're gonna have to play Miles fighting probably Peter Parker at some point in the Venom suit, and then you're probably going to have to play both of them fighting against Venom in some capacity when he becomes the full Venom. That fear that I'm anticipating feeling in this game. And then if we get the Green Goblin cackle, and like when you play this, I'm headphoned in, so like I locked in with the sound. Oh, if I hear like a 3D sound of like I'm swinging between buildings, and I'm hearing the cackle swinging like flying around me,
That's dope.
woo, that's gonna be something. So I'm hyped for this, right? Like for me, these games are like Spider-Man of all things right now is hitting strong, right? We have we have Tom Holland Spider-Man that's been going strong, but the Spider-Verse movies have been way better for me, in my opinion. And y'all don't know because you ain't touching it, but the video games for me are like on the same level as Into the Spider-Verse because it has an immersion element that you're experiencing it, and that just makes it really, really exciting. So I'm as excited after seeing that trailer for this as I am watching Beyond the Spider-Verse. Like that's my anticipation level for this. Like I'm telling you. And the thing is, like, in these games, they really capture a lot of things. Like for when it's the Peter Parker version, when in the first game, one of my favorite things is the Spider Cop, when he would be talking to this female detective, and every time she would call and they were like talking about the next mission, he would be like, hold on, I need to bring on Spider Cop. And he goes into like the 1950s detective voice and does this whole random dialogue and just pisses her off. And you're like, this is so good. Why is this happening? It's so on point for the character to just have this sprinkled. And it was like, not like one or two times. It was the whole game. It was sprinkled in almost every other time they talked, to the point that you felt how annoyed she was. Because you're like, man, this guy is just off the rails at times. Like, he's just doing way too much. She'd hang up on him mid-conversation. It'd be great. So, but yeah, I'm hyped off of this trailer. I mean, they've hit it out the park 2 times back to back, and I know they're putting a lot of work into this. The fighting mechanics, fighting with the Venom suit looks like it's going to be crazy. So yeah, I am, if you haven't picked up yet, thoroughly excited.
You're all in, man.
Oh, I mean, I was all in after the first game, after like the first day of playing, and I was like, this is good. So, yeah. Also, the first game was only the main island of New York. Now they're opening it up into the second game, so they're expanding it to like Queens and all this stuff. Like, you're actually going to be going to like where Peter actually like grew up with Aunt May and stuff like that. Like, it's going to get even bigger in New York City. So that's just like, I'm always game for more to explore, right? Because this game is even fun after you're done playing it. Sometimes just to swing around and look at New York City. So I get more to swing on. I'm in.
Apparently, our fan Nudge is my cuz is from Staten Island, and he's thinking he can swing past his house.
That would be really actually dope. Like, it's like just stop and like take screenshots, because he can take photos of himself. So you'd be like, I
know people have done that actually. People were posting online that they like their apartment. They like crawled up right next to their window and took a screenshot.
Imagine if you could see yourself in the game as you're doing that. That would be some trippy shit.
That would also cross a lot of lines.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh.
You're like playing the game. There's like a little camera rolling up on your window outside. You're like roll your Spider-Man back down. The camera, the drone goes down. It's like going up and down. You're like, I don't know how I feel about this. But I also, what about that girl from back in high school? No, I'm kidding.
So so just from my perspective, I am someone who has played the first game briefly. Like, I went to someone's house, they passed me the remote, I played it, I realized just how freaking awesome it is. I went over to another friend's house. He had beaten the game, but he was like doing all the like side quests and like all the different outfits. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, yo, how many outfits did you unlock? And he was like, bro, you don't even know. So like, that's my extent. I enjoy watching it, I enjoy playing it every now and again, but like, I wouldn't say that this is something I'm looking forward to in the sense that I'm going to partake in. But I am interested. I'm interested to hear what people say about it, and also if there's going to be any like significant like lore additions or any kind of like awesome aspects that like people don't know about. So like, I'm looking forward to hearing about it, but I'm not going to be someone who's going to play it. How about you, T?
Yeah, I can't say that. I would love to play it. I just can't afford a PS5 right now, so that's not happening.
However, the first game came out on PS4, so just throw it out there if you happen to own a PS4.
I have a PS3, so yeah.
I know, I'm with you there.
Yeah, so I think the last Spider-Man game that I played was actually on like PS1, like the PlayStation. So
yeah, they've been upgraded since then.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm looking at like the cinematics and everything, and it plays like an actual movie, which is really interesting. Like, I was watching the trailer and I was like, yo, I actually want to see this movie, like legit, right? So yeah, I was really impressed by it, and the gameplay looks really really dope from what I've seen. I want to actually go, like, I've seen enough to the point where I actually want to go and invest in at least a PS4 and play the original, like the first game, and then the Miles game, and then eventually get onto this one.
Go fund me.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Nudge had to comment there. GoFundMe for Tactics PS5. I mean, if you're going to invest, you might as well go PS5 at this point.
I was just thinking that.
Don't get a console that you can only play one of the two games, because you can get the PS5 and play the PS4 version. I literally bought somebody the PS4 version because they didn't have a PS5 version, and then Miles Morales, which is only PS5. I bought them both for like a birthday gift. So
how much is a PS5 going these days?
Probably still like $400. I don't know. I'm gonna guess like $400 or $500.
That's not so bad.
Oh, okay.
Like
so I just looked at
most consoles.
So Amazon, Walmart, and Best Buy Canada are all looking between $650 to $730.
Oh yeah, so that's still jacked up because of low quantity. But that sucks.
For your birthday
next year.
Yeah.
Get you all 3 games.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 2 games are only $20. Third one will be more expensive.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like what I saw, and the Spider-Man games are always fun. It's always, like Darcy was saying, it's always fun to, even if you're not doing the campaign events, to just to swing around and explore, like,
100%,
right? So yeah, I actually enjoy games like that, and like the Arkham games as well. Like those
same
are
company,
really, really fun. Yeah,
it's the same company that did it, and I honestly prefer the fighting mechanics in Spider-Man over Batman. Like I just find it more enjoyable.
Yeah, of course, because there's so much like more you can do. Right?
Oh, it's so much. Like I was fighting all throughout the first game, and then I got to Miles, and I was like, I didn't even think about this. Like I do a lot of tricks where I stay in the air, picking people up, throwing them, beating them in the air, and throwing them back down to hit somebody else. And I'm like, this is so inventive. And there's different ways. Like I've seen people play completely differently in their fighting style because there's so many like up and down mechanics. So. I guess it's this comment.
Yes. So, Nudge was saying, I feel like there's somebody out there who will buy T a PS5 in exchange for training. So for those of you who don't know, Tactics is and like Darcy and I and Nudge can all attest to it. He's an excellent trainer, and if y'all want to get him a PS5, he could train you.
Yeah, getting that Craven shape.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, any last comments before we move on?
Nah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. I hope they release this on PC right away. That's my comment. I hope I don't have to wait.
That's fair, actually. That's fair. As someone who, going back to something you said, Darcy, about like how the Spider-Man franchise is killing it right now, it is really sad, and I mean really sad, that what spawned Spider-Man is the comics, and the one item in his entire franchise that is going badly right now is the comics. But literally every other aspect, like animation, movies, animated movies, video games, all are looking like they're killing it right now. But the comics,
is that just like a Marvel problem? Because you're saying Spider-Man's not going well, Miss Marvel has been not going very well.
Miss Marvel is the same guy. The same guy did it in Spider-Man.
So is it just one guy messing up the Marvel comic universe?
Kinda. Because like the X-Men stuff is all completely separate. That is kind of doing its own thing and also going down its own, like it's doing like this, like going up and down. But with Spider-Man right now, it's in a nosedive, and it took Miss Marvel with them.
Oof.
And that's why people are even extra pissed at this guy. Like he was already getting threats if going to Comic-Con. Not that anyone's going to. Well, people are at Comic-Con, but like not anyone behind anyway. But this guy is like just like he's bringing the ship down, and he's taking a few others with them, and everyone's just waiting for his contract to be over so that everyone can be like, okay, talk to Mephisto, get this all erased, and let's start anew. So yeah, I am glad that everything else is keeping Marvel afloat. Spider-Man afloat. But like, yeah, comics not so much.
Damn.
On that note, moving on. So, speaking of trailers, the recent trailer I should say the most recent trailer. So it's the second trailer, the full length trailer for The Marvels came out last night at midnight. I woke up to it and I was like, ooh. And I will say that actually, I'll hold off. I want to hear what my bros have to say before I jump in. So, T, let's start with you, man. I know the last trailer wasn't your thing. However,
I don't care.
Did you even watch the trailer?
I did watch the trailer. I don't care. Darcy, what are your thoughts?
You know what I love is that his level of caring about not caring interrupted you.
Yes, it's so not caring.
Yeah, I know. I watched the trailer. I saw that you posted it, and then I was on YouTube and I saw it pop up again. I saw a guy's reaction video, and I was like, oh, I should probably go watch that. Not the reaction video, but just like watch it for myself. And so I don't want to watch a trailer reaction before I've actually watched it.
I hear you.
They stop and talk too much. You know what I mean? Like, like play it.
I will say that like it's funny that people are starting to watch the reaction stuff before the actual thing, and I'm like, really? But
they need somebody else's opinion. But I will say that the Marvels themselves look a little bit more of a team than they did in the prior stuff. Mm-hmm. I won't say that it feels like the best ragtag group. They've been around the block and like blah blah blah. Like, and I know they're just coming together, but like, I won't say the chemistry is like unbelievable. I feel like it's three individuals who are really good, and with the right moments written into the script, there'll be some good moments, but I won't say that it feels like, I don't know, like when you watch like Ted Lasso and you look at, oh my gosh, I can't think of the names right now, but the woman who runs the football club and her best friend, right? Yeah. Where like they like, you like, are they real friends in real life? And then you find out they're real friends in real life, right? Like, it's like it doesn't feel like that homogenous, you know, or the right word for it. But I will say it feels like villain of the week. Like, it feels like this villain is as like Thor Ragnarok Part 2. Right, like I, as much as they made her, like I'm going to Thor Ragnarok. As much as they made Thor's sister feel this very big thing, she's not memorable to me. Like I don't feel the weight of that villain. And I see this villain, and I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna like spend most of the movie trying to watch it for the laughs of mostly Miss Marvel playing off of everybody else. And I'm going to watch it almost like an action comedy and more of the comedy. And I look at this villain and I'm like, who is this person? I don't really care. And it feels like another big blue light in the sky kind of problem.
Question. Did you feel that way about the first Guardians villain?
Yeah, good question. Because obviously there's like a tie-in here, or it's a successor or something. Because I see a weapon being reused. Yes. But it's slightly more memorable. I would say that villain was presented a little bit more intensely in the very beginning when he does the whole like swinging the hammer and you see the blood going. You're like, oh, okay. Like that
he bathes in their blood.
Yeah, and so that moment makes you feel like, wow, this guy's gonna feel like how Thanos felt when we got to Endgame, and then he wasn't as strong as that. But
sorry, the way you said that was hilarious. And then he wasn't.
It's true though. Like it was a great setup in that first scene, and then it was the rest of him just didn't feel like it hit that strong. But he's still more memorable because of Peter Quill's dance off. Because you can't not remember a moment where a guy is ultra serious and then is completely befuddled by a guy doing a Kevin Bacon dance-off. Like, it's that's gonna be a memorable moment to remember a villain. Can you imagine if like Peter Quill pulled that on Thanos? Like, what would that moment look like? What would Thanos' reaction look like to Peter Quill, like, doing a little, like, don't look behind me. I'm going to go do this, you know? Kind of a thing. Or, like, while Peter's, like, in the background, like, putting together some, like, technology to take down Thanos. Like, you know, like, that moment would just stick in your brain.
Right.
But, yeah, I would say that villain
Okay,
is a little bit more forgettable, but he's not the worst because the movie is more quality. This just feels to me like Hera, like it's just going to be like, I'm not going to remember nothing about this person by the time we're done this film. Like, I'm going to be like, cool, they had to fight her. She had powers. They had to overcome her powers. And that's it. Like, that's all it feels like it's going to be to me. It's not like, again, Thanos is a prime example, or there's other people who are prime examples where they're like oh my god, I can't think of it right now, but where they have a motive that you empathize with and understand where they're coming from. And this, they presented nothing to me other than it's just like she's mad that the other guy died or something, or like lost,
Right.
and she's going to have more power and she's a threat to the universe. That's what it feels like to me.
Okay. T, just to circle back, because Nudge was asking why no care. He said that a lot more emphatically, but I'm just going to tone it down a little bit.
Honestly, I don't. For me, with both Marvel and DC, I don't know what it is, but somehow like a lot of these trailers aren't really doing it justice for me anymore. And I think a part of it is just because there's been a lot of just like empty promises, right? Like The Flash, for example, was very overhyped, and we loved that trailer.
We loved all those trailers. Yeah.
And I drank the Kool-Aid and then went into that movie and I was very underwhelmed. Like, didn't hate the movie, but also didn't live up to the gigantic, hype that it led us to believe that it was, right? And so every time I see like a Marvel or a DC trailer going forward, I'm just kind of like, okay, this is just a lot of like hot, flashy stuff being shown in my face, but I don't trust it anymore. It's just kind of like, all right, I don't know what the storyline is. I'm not captivated by any of these visuals. It's nothing I haven't really seen before in the past. So yeah, like I'll believe it when I see it kind of thing. But as of right now, like I had no anticipation to watch this film to begin with, and I still don't have any real desire to rush out and go see it. I'll watch it for sure, because I haven't completely given up on these superhero movies. But yeah, they just don't do much for me anymore, man.
That makes me so happy.
Wow.
T, honestly, the reason, like, you feel like my brother right now, because I remember this is a while now. This is before you even started doing the podcast. But like, I used to tell you that the Man of Steel trailer broke my heart, and ever since then, I just don't trust trailers anymore. Now, granted, I was speaking about DC specifically, but and for you, it's kind of escalated to like both DC and Marvel.
It's everything.
Yeah. So like for me, I'm just like, brother, I feel you. I know what you're saying. I've been there.
Like, put it this way, I never thought there would come a time where there's like so many different superhero shows out right now. Like I haven't even watched not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What's the other one? The new
Secret Invasion?
Secret Invasion. I haven't watched anything yet. Yeah, and see that reaction right there, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's what I'm getting. So
I call Secret Invasion character assassination show.
Yeah, but it's just like, back in the day, like I think back to the era of like
Daredevil,
Sam Raimi's like Spider-Man and X-Men, where it was like that's all we got, and we were excited to go out and watch those movies, and we saw them multiple times because those movies were so far and few between. And now, and I don't want to bring it back to like it being like a case of like superhero fatigue. I don't think that's what it is. I just think that there's so much. We're being so inundated with all of these superhero movies, but there's not enough quality being put out. It's more quantity. Fluff. Yeah, it's all fluff, and they're just dishing them out one after the other just for the sake of doing it now. It's not even, I feel like there's no real direction anymore, or no no end goal. It's just kind of like, yeah, let's just get all of these things out. And I know the topic of discussion in the later podcast part of the show is going to be about Aquaman, and again, that's another one. Like, I'm just kind of like, I feel like there's no heart behind any of these shows anymore. It's just all a money grab, and that just doesn't pique my interest at all.
I respect that.
And
I actually respect
to Najum's point, the director who made Candyman remake, that movie was ass. So yeah, I'm sorry, that movie sucked. So
I'm sorry, I didn't
doesn't get movies,
but that reaction was hilarious.
Yeah, it was trash.
No, like 100%, I can relate to that, and like I think a lot of articles are being released right now because like people are trying to blame this on superhero fatigue, but everyone else is like, no, give us good movies. Like,
yeah.
And Darcy, I think you even brought this up. You're like, if we had superhero fatigue, would Across the Spider-Verse be doing as well as it did? No, we want good shit. And the problem is we've gotten such, like, I think what happened with Endgame was it wasn't that like we got, well, I think you said that you were, but I think predominantly what Endgame did, Tactics, is that it gave us quality and took it to the next level. It let us end on quality.
It also gave us a conclusion, which also felt like it felt like Marvel was wrapping up.
And then we had No Way Home. Now, some people argue whether that's quality or not, but I consider it quality. Yeah. And then on top of which we then got like intermittent good TV series, but a shit ton of those.
Yeah, then, I mean, at this point, this is like when you're saying that the TV shows, I think this is Disney's fault. I think it comes down 100%. To the top level leadership and the goal for Disney Plus to be something, and ruined many, not even just Marvel properties, for the sake of quantity over quality. Yeah. And people just be tired, like, and they want difference.
They're tired of like barely passable.
Yeah, because the novelty is worn off. It's not enough to just put out a superhero movie. There has to be some like actual substance now, right? Like, because even with, say what you will about like the previous X-Men films, like we ate that shit up. But like if we go back, or like even Spider-Man, for example, like what you brought up, right? Like when that first came out, we were all like, we didn't care, like we didn't know any better. Yeah, we loved that movie, and then going back, you're kind of like, okay, well, yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it paved the way because of the novelty, right? But now that the novelty is worn off, that shit's not gonna fly anymore. You can't just give us a superhero movie just for the sake of, oh, it's a superhero movie. Like, it doesn't work that way anymore, right? Like we've been so bombarded with all of these superhero movies now that we need something of quality.
Yes. Sorry, I had a really interesting thought to throw out here for you. When we were young, and when we were young watching this stuff, our parents, more than most of them, wouldn't know what this stuff is, right? There's obviously always been some OGs from time, right? From the 50s who know something. But they wouldn't know and they wouldn't care. So it was a kid's thing. And we were kids and our brains were lesser developed. And so we were enjoying more of simple things, right?
Agreed.
Now we're older, and you could argue that some of these movies are built for the kids that are younger, right? As in younger kids might enjoy Doctor Strange or Ant-Man, whatever that mania
like
stuff
the Star
was.
Wars prequels, like that was made for kids.
Yeah.
And the adults.
But hold up, we get to a point here. Okay. So someone could argue that stuff is meant for younger kids. And we'd be like, well, it's not for us. But here's the thing. That's a flawed argument, in my opinion. I don't agree with it. But what I would think that they're not realizing, the people at the studios making that kind of a decision based off of, oh, it's for kids. You know, calm down, you're an adult. Is, well, we grew up watching this stuff. Now we're the people who want to continue it. We're putting the dollars in. And we are also the people who might block the kids from watching it. Because... Yeah. If we're like, hey, we gotta go watch it. I mean, and this kid's like, I want to see it. I'm like, nah, I'm not seeing that one, and I'm not paying for you to see that one. I'm not doing it because like I'm paying as much attention as you are, and that one ain't worth it, right? And so they have to realize it's like there has to be both quality, and you have to find a right balance for the ones that are meant for everyone. But we also need more superhero stuff that's not meant for everyone. Deadpool, I hope, is starting something there. Like the Batman is an absolute must continue, and it doesn't, and we don't need everything to be in that dark tone, but we need it because there are people who are not children who want to go watch this stuff and don't want to watch a Batman film every single time that's like jovial and lighthearted and not showing the grimness of the real stories that we know how grim they get. So yeah, I don't know. I thought I wanted to put out there.
I hear that. Going back to the original topic about the Marvels trailer, I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed the trailer. Now, to be fair, I was a fan of the first trailer as well, but this trailer, a mixture of having Iman Vellani in it, like she still kills it. Secondly, I really enjoyed the display of abilities and also how they're going to like maximize the power intake, and also like the fact that they're like it's going to be like a proper action film and a comedy. So like Darcy, I think you hit the nail on the head on that one. That like it's going for action comedy vibe, and I'm liking the comedy mostly because it has Iman Vellani. But the action stuff, from what I've seen, looks good. I'm really hoping that's not the only action we're going to get, but nonetheless. So
you've already seen it all, Omar. It's like 30 more seconds.
Yeah. And just like if that happened, I'll be like, well, that hurt. But nonetheless, I will say that what I want a quality story. And when we were first watching superhero films, I was critical because I wanted more. What I'm believing is happening now is that I'm now not the only one wanting more. Because actually, it's like you said, the novelty is worn off. So it's like, okay, so give us some actual like proper shit. And for example, Black Panther 2, they had to redo the whole film, but they grounded it based off of grief, and they grounded it in terms of like real emotions and stuff. Same with the first one; it was dealing with something very visceral. And yeah, there's some comically like in the comments, not just saying that like comics are goofy inherently. Absolutely. There is a level of suspension of disbelief due to the fact that it's a comic book movie. Fair enough. But what we want is some level of sincerity. Not sincerity. Some level of like nuance. And MCU was giving us beginnings of nuance. The problem was they kind of, after Endgame and a little bit, and also, no, actually, I would say the TV series has kind of proved that they don't really know how to do TV series the way we want them to. And for me personally, Secret Invasion, you guys all know I was hyped for it, and watching it has been like a great disappointment week by week. So T, don't worry about it. I'll give you cliff notes about it or something like that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and like I have moments that I enjoy, but predominantly I find it to be a character assassination of Nick Fury. Sorry, Nudge. I'm hopeful that this film, The Marvels, because I don't know why I'm feeling this hopeful towards it, but like I'm hopeful that The Marvels is going to continue the enjoyment I had for WandaVision and also for Ms. Marvel. Those are my two favorite Disney Plus series by far. And aside from WandaVision's third act and also Ms. Marvel's like villain issue, most of that, like, well, no, not Ms. WandaVision, but Ms. Marvel's issues mostly had to do with the COVID. But WandaVision just kind of dropped the ball in the last episode because of the third act problem that we've discussed in the past. Nonetheless, those are my two favorite, and I'm really hoping that they continue that. And it feels like they're continuing it because I think they have one of the writers from WandaVision there. But also, not that this is saying much, this trailer makes it look like if this was Captain Marvel 2 instead of The Marvels, this already looks significantly better than the first Marvel movie, Captain Marvel movie. Again, not saying much, but like these things all add up to me feeling very hopeful about it. Also, Iman Vellani's badass, and I actually really like Teona. I forget her last name all the time, but nonetheless. So that's why I have hope for the Marvels, and yeah, I'm just down for it.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be the bummer here. I'm still really skeptical of this film because it feels paint by numbers, and what I mean by that is, too often I feel like these superhero films are, there's a phrasing or terminology for this. I can't remember what it is, but when you ask like a high schooler to start writing stories, right, as like part of like a language class, right, they will give you a story writing that's very much like this person does this, then this person does this, then this thing happens, and this is the consequence, and then this person has to interact with this person, and just like things that happen.
Formulaic.
What's that?
Formulaic.
Yeah, I guess. And then when you actually want to tell a really good story, you have to ask the question of what is the story trying to tell you. And you could look at, like, say, some of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's trying to tell you about trauma and overcoming trauma. It could talk about, like, creating family out of strangers, right? As part of what it's trying to tell you. You could look at Infinity War and Endgame, and it's what happens when the heroes can't actually achieve the task at hand. Like what becomes of that to those people, and we can find ways to relate to that, or it can be grandiose beyond us, but it still asks a question and provides a version of that answer, and a question, usually one that's hard in answering, and gives us all different types of interpretations. And then you get movies that are just like, it doesn't ask really a question, it's just things that happen to meet objectives of a larger storyline, but the individual stories don't ask their own strong questions, or if they do, they're not ones I care that much about. And if I don't care, I don't grasp, like it doesn't hit me, then I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'm sure that movie where the giant head came out of the planet, I can't remember what the name of it is right now.
The giant head came out of the planet? Do you mean Ego? Like from Guardians 2?
No, I'm talking about that one the artistic Marvel film that got loved and hated all at the same time.
Oh, Eternals. Sorry.
Yeah, it asked some questions, but they weren't questions that I felt really hit hard enough for me to care. But then you look at like Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, and there's some hard questions being asked in those movies, and you're like, damn, like, yo, Killmonger got a fucking point, right? Like the question wasn't even subtle. The question was put out there for you, and it was hard to answer it. Like, if they just stop the movie and say, here's the question, you'd be like, all right, Umar, tactics, answer the question. Come up with your answer. Tell us how you'd end this movie. And you're like, well, okay, well, and you have to like start thinking about it, and that intrigues you, and that's what pulls you into the film. And if the questions are like, again, how do you beat somebody with overwhelming power? Get more power.
Would you say that from the trailers of those movies you were able to tell the message?
Nope.
No, not necessarily. but
sorry, T, you caught me off guard with that one.
No, I don't disagree, but I will say that if you look at Black Panther and you look at like Infinity War as examples, you can discern the villains are going to propose something. You don't know what that question is, okay, but you can tell from those villains something captivating about it. And when I would look at Guardians of the Galaxy, I would honestly say that like the villains aren't even the strongest points. It's actually the heroes and the group of them that's so strong that it really pulls you in, and that's really the real story is about them. But the last movie, that villain and from the trailer posed a lot of intrigue and delivered on exactly what your intrigue was intrigued about. Okay, but the first two, I would say that those villains didn't really feel like that big. And they weren't really the core.
Yeah. All right, we got to move on because we got a ton more stuff. So
Yes, please.
My bad. My bad. I got
our bad. Our bad.
No, I'm just sick of the topic. I just like fuck Captain Marvel.
I'm amazed we did not talk about Brie Larson.
I was holding it in, bro. I was holding it in out of respect because I know Nudgem is super excited to see this movie, but fuck her.
Okay.
Let it breathe.
Moving on. So, sorry, T. We're still talking about trailers. Another trailer dropped this past week, which is the second trailer of a teaser that came out a while ago that caught me by surprise. This is called The Creator. So, the second trailer, which is the full-length trailer for this movie, came out. And this is a sci-fi action thriller that's directed by Gareth Edwards. For those of you who don't know him, he was the one who directed, Rogue One. Also, this is going to be kind of based. I believe it's based off a novel. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, it has John David Washington in it. It has Gemma Chan, Ken Watanabe, and frankly, we talked about this previously when we knew very little about what it was about. But nonetheless, like I found myself thoroughly engaged by it and oddly slightly moved. I watched this full trailer and I gotta say I'm significantly more into it now. But then again, like I know I'm a hardcore sci-fi geek, but T, if you saw this trailer, you will know they didn't do space.
I'm watching it now, actually.
Okay, let's go with you, man.
I mean,
what did you think of the trailer?
There's satellites in this movie, so there's still space. Don't lie to yourself. It's not really. It's not like really. It's not like Space Adventure though. It's just like the.
No,
it's
but
more like.
it's
more like if AI robots like Terminators were to use satellites to hurt the planet, they clearly would. This movie is intriguing to me mostly because of John David Washington.
Really?
But I can't say that I'm overly intrigued. And the reason I say that is because I feel like I've seen a few movies over the last few years that have similar-ish kind of premises, especially around, artificial intelligence and robots. And like, for instance, Netflix had one that had the new Captain America, Anthony Mackie, was in it. And he played an actual like AI robot thing, and the movie proposed really good questions, and then the third act just fell all apart because it was just like overwhelm it with power. Like it just like it set up really cool stuff, and then just didn't really know how to answer the question in a way that wasn't obvious and Hollywood. By the end, you want to be left with an answer that's slightly unanswered, right? Like this is the answer we're giving you in this complex moment, but we couldn't give you a full answer versus being able to wrap things up nicely. And so I'm a little bit going into this being like, I don't trust that it won't have the third act problem because that's my fear. But having JDW in this, I'm calling him that now. It's a long name, okay?
No, fair enough. I'm glad you shortened it. I didn't know how to.
The fact that he's in it, and it's got even artistic level vibes of even like a Christopher Nolan film in ways, right? Like just artistically. Like I'm not saying it's his style, but I just mean like somebody who seeks to be at the same level of like I care a lot about visual and how to present things. And it feels artistic, makes me hope for it to not have a third act problem in that we're just going to like wrap up AI in a simplistic way. Now, the fact that it's already in Terminator land, right? It's already become a problem. is more intriguing from a storyline, because it's not the like, let's stop it from happening and the whole movie just leads up to an obvious thing. It's this has already happened. Now what do we do with this? And this one kid who is changing everything. But again, I'm still just worried it's going to be just like revolution and obvious. So
Darce, let me ask you something. Did you get Animatrix / Akira vibes from this trailer? Because I did.
I can't say I've watched that stuff enough to like say that. I've seen Akira once, and it's great, but I don't have it like well memorized, so I can't answer that.
All right, T, your thoughts on the trailer? I'm ready to be heard.
So I watched it on mute, so it seemed like a very long trailer because of that. So I'm just being honest, man.
I love you, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with Darcy. It seems very paint by numbers. Like I've seen the movie before. Like it reminds me a lot. Kind of reminds me of like Elysium with I think it was Matt Damon.
Yeah,
you know what? Yeah, I get that.
Like I'm getting
that's actually a pretty good film though.
I feel like we've seen this kind of storyline before, and I mean it's hard to gauge based off of a trailer, especially one that you didn't have the audio on for. But yeah, in regards to that, it looks interesting enough to check out, but I just don't have enough to go on to really say whether or not I'm excited for this movie. Based off of what I'm seeing right now, it does seem like I've seen this before. So
you're killing me so much.
I can't breathe right now. I'm trying not to laugh.
I had a thought for your tactics. It's like you need to learn sign language so you can just watch these trailers in the middle of everything. Just have someone sign it to you. And that's once I thought that I was gone.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean, I hope it's good. And I agree with you, Darcy. It does kind of give off Christopher Nolan vibes, which is funny because both what do you call him, JWD and
sorry, I'm just reading that. Just
can't even get it.
He's like, and that says a T being the student who has to do a book presentation the day of.
That's me, yo.
I still got at least a B.
He like book presentation. He's got his like book on his iPhone. He's just like looking down, scrolling it. I really like that passage on page 95 where the guy says, no, sorry, scrolls up, not page 96. Like trying to find a good quote.
Oh man. Oh, sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah, it does have Christopher Nolan the vibes. And I recognize two actors actually. Well, the main actor obviously, and then another guy who's worked with Christopher Nolan before. The Asian guy. Yeah. So I thought actually that Christopher Nolan directed this film, but yeah, that would have enticed me a little bit more if he was attached to this. But yeah, I mean, it just all seems like I've seen this before, so I'm not super hyped for this, but I'll still check it out and hopefully it's good.
I'm hyped for it. But I will say I'm with you, Darcy, as well. Like, I don't want this to be a third act problem issue. Now, to be fair, I really liked Rogue One, so like, hopefully there's not a third act issue, but nonetheless. But
oh yeah, this is the Rogue One people, right?
Yeah.
That's good. That's helpful. Okay, move on. I just
all right.
think.
Moving on. So our next piece of geeky news was the announcement or potential very high likelihood, low rumor level. Like people were saying this was rumor, other people saying it was confirmed. So we don't know what's going on right now. But nonetheless, for the Gargoyles, we those of you who grew up with Gargoyles, Kenneth Branagh, pictured right here. Kenneth Branagh has been rumored, reported, said to be attached to direct the film. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kenneth Branagh is like he did the first Thor movie. Tactics, be cool today.
Oof.
He also has done all the Hercule Poirot ones, so like the Murder on the Orient Express, and like the Murder on the Nile. He also has done many Shakespearean like productions and also plays, as well as he also did, I think, the movie Belfast, which I haven't seen, but everyone was saying was like really well done. So anyway, so him being attached, I personally find, to a live action Gargoyles film, I find to be a rather surprising choice. I still wish it would have been Jordan Peele from way back in the day, but given the fact that there is the show, the animated series, had a strong Shakespearean content embedded into it, this actually seems like they are being respectful to the source material by getting someone who actually would draw up those aspects. Now, I am, like, as you can tell, I am guarded but pleased with this. I am wondering what my bros have to say about this. Darce, let's start with you, man.
Well, I'll keep this one brief. I'll make up for the time I spent on the Marvels movie. I mean, I have no real strong opinion. You know, Thor 1 isn't the greatest, but it's also pretty good at the same time.
Better than Thor 4.
Absolutely.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
Yep. And Thor 2. Actually, no, that point. Thor does its best work on odd numbers, not evens. That's all I gotta say.
Facts.
But in general, like both of you, when I was a kid, TMNT, Gargoyles, same level, right? Batman animated series, like these were all like staple shows as a kid, and I will welcome anything Gargoyles until you show me something I absolutely dislike, and then I will say, oh my god, this better not be Avatar all over again. That's about it.
T?
Yeah, I'll keep this brief too. I think I agree with you, Umar. I would have rather have Jordan Peele. I was going to say Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peele.
I almost said it too.
I know, right?
I don't think I want Jordan Peterson directing.
Nah.
Be a bit wordy in the dialogue department.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been nice to have him attached to the project, considering that he is an avid fan and a big geek. But the fact that this guy has been attached to Thor, which does have a heavy Shakespearean vibe to it, and also it would be very reminiscent of the Gargoyles theme, I think this sounds like a better fit given the stuff this guy has been attached to in the past. So yeah, I'm on board, and I'm actually more excited for stuff like this than I am any Marvel or DC movie coming out, to be honest, because
I get that.
It's unique. It's something different. And this, I feel, has been long overdue. I mean, we've been waiting for a Gargoyles movie forever. And the fact that they're just bringing this into the conversation now is surprising, but also pretty enticing, to say the least. So I'm on board for it. Bring on Gargoyles. Pave the way for Street Sharks, Biker Mice from Mars. Bring it all on. I'm ready for it.
Biker Mice. Oh,
yeah, I dropped that shit on you.
I
dropped that on you, yo.
Okay, I actually don't know that one. But I actually going to say something to this. I was thinking while you were talking, I'm like, how do you make Gargoyles work? It's been so long. Other than the audience of kids.
Easily.
With that?
I like, because like the first 5 episodes are essentially you just redo the first 5 episodes. You just need to modernize it a little bit here and there.
That's not quite what I mean. What I meant is towards how do you make this something that the general audience wants to go see, right? Outside of those of us who watched it when we were a kid, how do you make this appealing to the larger audience? And like enough that you make money off of the film and then it's not like a $200 like loss. And what I actually was thinking while saying this is underworld tone taking what I mean by that is don't make it like the movie Underworld and like the series, but there's a whole audience of people who love those films, and even though they weren't always quality, they actually watched all of them because they just enjoyed the darkness of the vampire Underworld vibes. And so actually this could really kind of pull from that,
like Hellboy too.
Yeah, but I think Underworld is like it had a real strong thread, right? And so I just feel like this could come with that, and there would be an audience of people who haven't gotten an Underworld and wish they could get another Underworld. And all of a sudden, Gargoyle comes in with a similar tone, of like, oh, could this be a thing? So
That's interesting.
Just something that popped into my head as we were talking about it, because it's like outside of like that, it's a very like it's a very niche audience of people who are going to want to watch this. If it's just like a straight adaptation and doesn't present something, it's like, who wants to see a movie about gargoyles coming off of a building at night? Like on the premise of, without knowing, if you just describe it, it's like gargoyles that come off buildings at night and deal with problems. It's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. I will also like a toned down version of my cousin's rantings in the comment section, playing up a Beauty and the Beast aspect between Eliza and Goliath. I mean, I'm not wanting interspecies mating rituals happening here like he wants it, but like maybe like a Beauty and the Beast style sort of thing. But again, like I'm spitballing, and that I don't want that to be the main focus of the film either. It's like a nice little like side. I rant because I love. It's fair. It's fair. Okay, moving on to our next topic. So as Tactics had brought up earlier, we are going to be discussing recent news about Aquaman 2. So no trailers, just some news about it. Not great news to say. Let's just say that this series is having more than just Amber Heard as a problem. Hollywood Reporter has stated that there have been several cut scenes from this film already, mostly having to do with Batman. Also, there were some significant last-minute changes to, let's say, the story, and multiple test screenings to help with those script changes. Yeah, that last one didn't make me feel very good. Apparently, so going back to the first part, like Batman was supposed to be featured in this movie, and kind of meant as the Nick Fury to the Avengers. So first they got rid of, I think it was Michael Keaton who was in there. Then James Gunn came in and said take him out altogether. So they got rid of Ben Affleck as well. I also feel that there was a Flash connection that was there was possibly a Flash connection, but predominantly it was Batman being removed as the Nick Fury of the DCU. This is, I think, being leveled off with the fact that that's what he was going to be doing in Batgirl as well, except for the fact that, Batgirl's entirely shelved. So, and then now with multiple reshoots, and now the only thing that's made me feel less worried has been the fact that James Wan, I believe his last name is saying that, hey guys, this is still an incredibly independent film. All you need to have seen is the first one. And I'm like, cool, okay, cool. Unfortunately, this article and other corroborating ones, all I could think about is what Darcy was saying last week, and that like, how much shit do we have to get through before we get to the renewed stuff? And Darcy, you hit it home, because like this does not sound good. So yeah,
this is a bad start.
Yeah, well timed there.
Yes. Okay, so let's go with you. What are your thoughts of because you sound like you had something to say about Aquaman.
This movie is gonna suck. Oh my gosh. This movie, pardon the pun, but this movie is dead in the water, bro. Oh my gosh.
Oh no! Welcome to puns. Yeah. We need it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even checking for this movie at all, and all the like they're not even trying to save this movie. At least with the Flash, they were like, "Yo, go see this movie. It's great." This one, they're just like, well, yeah, we lost Batman. We lost both Batmans. We're in trouble. No one gives a fuck about this movie. So that's really all I gotta say about it. I feel sorry. I feel bad, but I don't care. I don't care. It's gonna suck. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually really excited to see this trailer just to see how bad this is gonna be.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. They're gonna bury it under some other trailers. They're just gonna be like, just release it.
It's like a half trailer. It's like, well, where'd the rest of the movie go?
Yeah. Oh man.
Jars?
This is gonna be me trying to get to the movie theater day one of the film. For those of you listening, that was the Batgirl clip running in her Timberlands, trying to make it around the corner, taking a good old 8 seconds to run 3 steps. I think at this point they're just cutting all the stuff to make sure there's no loose ends as to how it connects to a larger storyline. Frankly, I would have been happy if they just canceled this film altogether, and like this picture in the background shows here, just make him into Lobo. I don't want any more of this universe. Cut Aquaman, keep Jason Momoa, bring him on as Lobo. His personality is already Lobo-ish, and after seeing Fast X, this man could absolutely go into the eccentric part of Lobo, because he went into the eccentric part of Joker. I'm even of the mindset to give this man a Joker film at some point, for what he did in that film, right? Maybe a weird Joker, but actually, you know what? We had one buff Joker in one of the animated films. He could probably take that on. You know what I'm saying? But in an Elseworld, Umar, don't worry, I'm not saying in I know. In the Prime universe here. But frankly, I don't care. Even if you ask me to go see this, Umar, I'm likely only going to go see this if kids are asking me to go see this film. I don't know if I have a question for you about this film. I'm just gonna put a random number here because I don't know, but let's just assume the same crap as every other one of these films with all the cuts. Let's just assume this movie with marketing and everything is 300 million. How much do you think under that this film's gonna be?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that, because I was actually looking to see that. Currently, this budget for this film is well over 215 million, and that's pre-marketing. 215.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like they're not going to cross the 250 line on the marketing. They're going to be like Facebook ads. And put it out in the flyers, add it to your no frills coupons.
I know people have been saying this a lot in all the articles I've read about this, but to be honest, it goes back to what you just said, Darcy. People keep saying that Peter Safran and James Gunn have gone through the cut, have given suggestions, and have greenlit a week worth of reshoots in order to better the film. In my opinion, that's not bettering the film. It's what you're saying. It's let's cut out all the things that are going to be working against what they're doing going forward.
Yeah, let's prepare for a better restart of this universe.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm with you guys. This movie's going to tank. And honestly, I'm really worried for because Warner Brothers is not doing really well in terms of giving out us content. It's also now to the point that they're losing money over this, like The Flash. I feel this movie is going to be the same. I really hope that Blue Beetle isn't this. I feel Blue Beetle has a chance of not being so, only in the fact that people want it to succeed because it has a Latino hero, and people kind of want that representation to keep going. Jason Momoa,
and it doesn't have Amber Heard or Ezra Miller going for it. Like,
That's true. There's no controversy to that movie.
out of the last
on
3
wood.
films coming out, like they've had the 2 biggest villains in hero roles, and the last one just be like, we just Latino. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, that's all I want. So maybe that might work towards it. So I feel this film is destined to fail. I am interested to see how the trailer is going to look. I'm kind of viewing this as a Warner Brothers version of Fast and Furious, ironically, but like in the sense of it being a fun train wreck.
Yeah.
If that.
Going back to the paint by numbers story and a villain that like villain of the week, like I'm just waiting for like the most like generic possible, like just fill in the blanks. Like it's a Mad Libs version of superhero films. Like
I do not doubt it. Okay, so moving on. Last week we had the illustrious and brilliant Darcy pose a very fascinating question. He asked me while we were discussing another topic, Umar, who do you think is better, the Mikkelsens or the Skarsgårds? Now, I'm taking that as Darcy saying, which family or acting family has produced the better actor?
Yeah.
He's so cool. Anyway, so for those of you who don't know, there's Mads Mikkelsen, who is being shown up right now. He was in Casino Royale as one of the main bad guys. He was in Hannibal, the TV series, as Hannibal Lecter. God bless him. He was also in the first Doctor Strange movie as like the villain who was sorely underused. And he was most recently, unfortunately, in the latest Fantastic Beasts movie as the third iteration of Village Grindelwald. Now, he's a Danish actor, and he also has a brother who is kind of doing a really good job right now, also in Hollywood. His name is Lars Mikkelsen, and he has, like we have discussed him last week, having to do specifically with the upcoming Ahsoka series as the main villain, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Lars Mikkelsen has also been in, there he is. He's also been in, The Witcher, that I know him from, and also in BBC's Sherlock for one episode. So, he was also in House of Cards.
Yeah, he was the Russian president.
Thank you. That was it. Yeah. So So I thought it was another political show, but you're right. It was House of Cards. So nonetheless, these two guys are heavy hitters when it comes to acting, and they have really good resumes. They got some bad stuff in there too, but like they're not the reason. They're not bad actors. They're just in bad movies or shows.
Everyone's done a commercial here and there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think they have done commercial. I think Lars has done commercial.
Well, of course they've done. Everyone's done them. But what I mean is like everyone's got to pay the bills. Okay.
Right.
We can get into the actor strike right now, but we don't.
Right. So now counter to this are the Skarsgårds. Now there are a lot more of them. There's a lot more of them. I think there's so Stellan Skarsgård has been in. Jesus, he's been in everything. He's been in MCU. He's been in Star Wars. Okay, perfect. That's a great picture. Stellan Skarsgård is the father on the right side, and on the left side is Alexander Skarsgård, who was, as everyone knew him, Eric Northman from True Blood, and he also was most recently in Succession, and he was, I'm forgetting something else that he was. Oh, The Northman. He was in The Northman. Like that was his big movie. Let's just say women like him. Yeah.
Understand.
But also, my man can act. What I've seen him in, he's killed it. And he was reportedly the top contender. We don't know if this went through or not, but the top contender for being Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say he was a top contender to play Mr. Fantastic. I was like, I can see that too.
No. Ooh.
Yeah. Something about him. I feel like he could surprise you there. But anyways, yeah. Both of them really good.
Yeah. So yeah, father and son doing really good. But also, people probably don't know this, but Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise from It, the most recent iteration of It, and also was in John Wick 4 as the
guy.
The dude, the guy, the guy who was the bad guy. Anyway, so they all family. And they apparently have like Gustav Skarsgård, who's been in like Westworld and Vikings and like stuff like that. I don't know.
So good in Vikings. He was so good in Vikings. Sorry, you just reminded me of that show. I fell off that show just because it was like a time frame. But that show was so good. Move it. Okay. Go on.
Yo, Darth, man, like I'm really impressed that you. I had to look up this.
I don't remember this guy at all. I mean,
There's
I do.
No
but
way.
He's a Skarsgård? Damn, this family's. How many people did they birth?
Is he a Skarsgård? I didn't know that. Hold up. Let me look that up.
Tag just got like the wrong picture.
I might have fucked up.
Yeah, I don't think he family, bro.
Oh shit! All right, ignore this photo.
That was. Oh, I can't find him right now. Anyway, so those are the Skarsgårds, and those are the. Oh, okay. I see what you meant. He is Sarsgaard.
Sarsgaard, got it.
That was a typo on Google, man. I'm sorry.
This is a moment for tactics here, but it's kind of like Thor's daughter. So in the CrossFit community, there's like a couple women, and they all have the last name Thor's daughter. And Tax and I were both watching them independently, and then one day we just both had to, like, after watching several of them, realized they're not a person named Thor's daughter. Their last name is Thor's daughter, and they're not related. And we're just like, what? So, anyways, I digress.
Right. So the question that we're going to try to answer today is, which family has the best actors in it?
Yeah.
So, T, do you have? Are you going to put your name under any name?
Well, it's 3-2, right?
Yeah.
So I'm more familiar with the.
Technically 4, because Darcy actually knows.
If we want to make this a little more even, I would say that on the Skarsgård side, we take Bill Skarsgård, which we're seeing right now, and oh my god, why I'm forgetting it, the most noted. Alexander Skarsgård. No, because 2 against 2. If you want to make it even, I would take those two and versus the other two. If you want to think of it that way, I'm just saying.
Honestly, I think we should do Alexander and Stellan versus like a father and son. Because
that Bill, he's got some legendary stuff.
Man.
Okay. Anyway, T, what you were saying?
Man, it's tough because both Bill and Mikkelsen, Mads, yeah, they both make phenomenal villains, man. Like very eerie and like compelling villains, and I'm just like, oh, you guys are good, man. I'm not super familiar with the other Mikkelsen, like the brother. Yeah, I'm not familiar with his body of work. Alexander, I think the only thing I've seen him in is Tarzan.
Oh man, that's limited.
Oh damn,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't remember what else he's done that I've seen. I've seen more of Bill's work than I have of Alexander, I feel.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take your top 2. Like you can take the dad and Bill if those are the 2 that you are most aware of. Because I was just basically choosing off of who are the most famous.
Oh, he was in Zoolander. I forgot.
Everybody was in damn Zoolander. Like just random people. You're like, he was in that movie. God damn.
Man.
You want us to come back to you?
So
By
one,
the way,
one movie that I
Alexander
really liked.
Skarsgård was in Battleship.
I forgot about that movie. I did see that movie actually.
I knew you would have seen it, and I just saw it on the list. I'm like,
yeah.
let me put that back in the running for you.
I'm gonna give it to Skarsgårds, I think. Although
Okay,
I really like Mikkelsen's portrayal in Casino Royale.
He was great.
I haven't seen Hannibal, but I saw a movie super underrated in my opinion called Polar. It's a Netflix original movie with him in it.
Yeah,
that movie was great. I had a great time with that movie, and he was fantastic in it. So, yeah, but I'm gonna give it to Skarsgård.
Okay. Darce?
For me, it's going to be the Mikkelsens. And so for me, it's about who has embodied the most amount of iconic characters that like you couldn't replace with somebody else. And I feel and also which ones had the most visceral impact on me. So I love Alexander Skarsgård over here with True Blood. That's how I got introduced. And I haven't seen Northman, but man, I mean, look at that. Okay.
Yeah. No, I heard nothing but amazing things. I want to see it.
Same as well. However, I will say that those are great acting, but I won't say that like, oh, the True Blood character is one I'm gonna like remember forever. Like if you bring that up, I'm gonna be like, oh, let's talk about that. No, that's not gonna be for me. Out of all of them, now I can't quite remember what Stalin, if I'm saying that right? Stellan has, like, what was his most iconic thing, Umar, that you can think of?
Good Will Hunting.
Okay, yeah, classic.
That plus also, I think the things people know him the most about are that. Also, he was in the MCU, but like that's more recent things. And also he's in Andor, but again, that's more recent stuff. But his more
Dune
is also more recent.
Yeah,
but I would say
Chernobyl, Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm just like looking.
He was
up, right?
A secondary villain.
Yeah.
But Good Will Hunting was kind of like when he was like, because like him and Robin Williams. Yeah, they like their chemistry was on point, and like they were always shown to be kind of equals in that regard. And then like have Matt Damon and all that other stuff. So I would say that that's aside from MCU and Pirates of the Caribbean. Also, let's just say like Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. So again, great work. And I mean, I'm not the hugest like Good Will Hunting fan. I'm not like not a fan. I've just seen it when I was younger. Haven't seen it a lot since then. So you know, but yeah, great acting. But I can't say these are iconic characters for me. However, I think that Bill Skarsgård is the most iconic of them so far. He's done stuff that I'm just like, I'm not gonna like think of anybody else when you say it. Like, oh my God, that betrayal. And some of the other stuff, I forget what it was, but when you show the one with the tattoos, I can't quite remember exactly which one it is. But I'm
Deadpool.
Like, Deadpool. Oh yeah. Oh, that was hilarious. But anyways, I see him like everything he does. It's like it's electric, right? And more than anybody else in his family, and he takes like the biggest risks, in my opinion. And
I see that,
and that's really really big. But then we go to the Mikkelsens, and each of them have super iconic character for me. Hannibal. Oh my! You can't bring up that show with people who've seen it and not just want to dive right into that conversation. Okay.
That man.
And then Lars, in what he's about to do in Ahsoka, but what he did in Rebels, unreal. But thing is, that character is so amazing, and his portrayal of the Russian president in House of Cards is the same level and are different people, and yet still feel very similar. But I mean, the Ahsoka one feels way smarter, like way more intense. And yet his Russian president was a super intelligent person and freaked me out. And like,
he was scary as fuck.
Oh, and then Mads has like so many good things under his belt. Like you're saying, like Polar, Casino Royale. But I mean, just like, you can't, like, tell me this. If you were to recast Hannibal who would you recast it to? If you're to recast that Russian president, who would you recast it to? If you're to recast the guy from Ahsoka, who are you going to recast?
People fought this. People fought the fact they're like, no, you can't get anyone other than Lars Mikkelsen. Like, no one can do it except for Lars Mikkelsen. And they're like, yeah, okay, we'll just get him back.
Because their portrayals is both in the intelligence of the character and the portrayal of their intelligence and their voice and their mannerisms, and like how like you just can't redo them. And that's what like Bill Skarsgård is doing it. I cannot see anybody else do this, right? And I think that Alexander and Stellan have done some stuff, but I could argue that I could find somebody. I'm not saying it would be easy, but I could find some people who would play some of the characters I think that are their most iconic. Now, again, I haven't seen The Northman, so, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? And for me, I would say that's like why the Mikkelsens have more of that.
Yeah, I would say like with Alexander, people say like people will fight you if they're like, oh, we can recast Eric. So I think that would be his iconic thing. Like you can't touch that for him. But that's just one.
I agree, but at the same time, I think that like you could find somebody who could deliver a very, very good, similarly level thing.
Fair.
But it would be different. And I'm not saying that like, oh, it's easy. I'm not saying that's easy at all. Like that's amazing. But compared to like his brother in It, like there's a level you have to go to get that, to get the Joker, to get certain characters that if you like get Hannibal, to get Thrawn. If you don't go to that level, if you're a shy hair away from it, it comes off as an imitation, and you can't do an equally good but different version. It is just on a pinnacle to itself, and I think the Mikkelsens have more of that. Okay. So that's why I land there.
Fair enough, and like honestly, I can deeply respect that. So right now we're at a tie, so I'm going to break the tie, and I'm not going to lie. This was a very difficult choice for me. I'm going to go by, as Tactics would say, a dick hair to the Sarsgaards.
I knew it was coming.
Because like honestly, for me, if I'm going to be honest with how I would rate like a good actor, like the best type of actor, it's the range that they have. Yes, their ability to make something iconic and make it their own, I absolutely agree. It is one of the necessary ones. But I think for me, what I look for is range. I will say, for me personally, I would say Mads Mikkelsen is my favorite actor. And also, I think he has the greatest range. He can be terrifying. He can be intellectual. He can be physically intimidating. And also, he can be incredibly kind. Like, he has a softness to him that can be very, like, paternal. And also, he can be just really fucked up. So, but I find that Stellan, Alexander, and also with Bill, they have a great deal of range as well, and also have very committed level of acting that is more consistent. So if we're looking family based, I would say the Skarsgårds have it for me. Lars, I will grant you, is iconic, but I feel he's only one character multiple times in multiple different aspects.
Noted.
With Bill, I will say he's relatively stayed in the same aspect, but there are subtle nuanced changes that make it either more terrifying or more interesting. Alexander pretty much is like trying to do what his father did, and like Stellan was typecast as a villain, fair enough. But he has transitioned and is now doing like middle stuff. Like he's also doing comedy, and he's also doing like The Mentor, and he's also doing the dark anti-hero and still playing the villain. Alexander has played the anti-hero and the bad boy nonstop, but also he's also done the action stuff, and he's also done the intellectual stuff, and also he's done the hero as well. So for me personally, I would say that because of the range, the Skarsgårds win it by a dick hair.
You know, one thing that's interesting while I was looking into this, that I also would find interesting to note is, now that we can never judge this because of our language barriers, but I would love to see, and I haven't looked into Skarsgård, but for instance, Lars Mikkelsen has a lot of Danish films. And he has more Danish films than he does English films. And so I would actually even think that his range has to be that he gets hired to come in to do these things that are English and then to go back and does his work in his own country. And I think Mads might be doing a little bit more on the English side than Lars is. Like, he has more notable films. And I wonder how much he goes back and does it. And then if you were to look at the Skarsgård and look at their Swedish stuff, if they have Swedish stuff, do they do a bunch of flip? And then it's like, now do we get to see how much range they have and where they actually are limited on the English side, and they just go like, no, I'm good, I can go home and make these films, so I'll go home and make these films, and then I'll come back when they bring me an amazing character to be iconic in, and a couple others that, you know, hit or miss but may pay me good. So that'd be intriguing thing. We can't judge that because we don't speak the languages and if we learned them, we would take time to understand nuance, but yeah, it's just intriguing.
No, I agree with you on that one. That would be really fascinating. All right, so the breaking of a tie, but that was like Darce. That took me a full week of like just like thinking off. Not that I was like focused on it entirely, but like I definitely was. That was a good question, man. I really appreciated that. Absolutely. Moving on to our final topic. So we are going to be discussing Barbenheimer, the phenomenon that has taken the internet. I'm sorry. The marketing for the two films together, it's just so good. Like, Darcy, was you saying that? Like, what was your joke about Deadpool? I can't remember right now.
I don't know at this moment looking at this picture.
Yeah.
Like they're driving away from the nuclear bomb together and like so oblivious. Oh, so
for those of you who don't know, the live action movie Barbie, and also the Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer is releasing this weekend. It's coming out. It's out now. Like literally right now. So these films have not uncommonly come out at the same time, and they're both Warner Brothers and Universal's big films for the summer. And let's just say that the marketing team for both decided, instead of trying to like beat out the other person, make bigger noise, try to get everyone to like, you know, choose them over the other, the marketing team decided, hey, let's have fun with this. And they teamed up and started releasing all these ridiculous and hilarious ads and memes and stuff, trying to get people to watch both films, which, to my surprise and to a lot of analysts, it's been working. There are thousands upon thousands of people who are actually planning their weekend around watching both films because the marketing has grouped them together, even though they are fundamentally different films and from two competing studios. Like, one is a intensely serious and personal biopic of Oppenheimer, the man who created the atomic bomb, and also like what he went through physically, personally, and mentally to create the first weapon of mass destruction. And then the other is Greta Gerwig's Barbie movie about the like borderline humorous and hilarious, but also meaningful, like spiritual journey of a doll
becoming a real woman.
So you can't really say that like, hey man, I can't wait to watch both these films together back to back, but that's what people are doing.
You know the drive-thrus back in the day? Like, just put 'em oh, there's got to be some drive-thrus right now capitalizing on this.
I actually completely believe you. And like even like Toronto has been like, because I know a lot of the articles I've been reading have been from America, specifically AMC theaters, and also how like I think one report in like certain areas, AMC are reporting that about 300,000 tickets are people who are buying both for one day. Like they're planning an entire day at the theater for these movies.
So question on that. And I was thinking about this. What order do you go in? I'm gonna put my answer out, okay? If I was gonna watch both in the same day, it would have to be Oppenheimer followed by Barbie, because I feel like you want to lighten up after that hard film. And if you're gonna sit through a lot, I think the last thing you want to do is laugh and maybe have a couple tears if that movie brings those to light for you. But I was thinking, like, if you go off of Barbie, super high emotion, and then go into this most intense film ever, I don't know if that's the greatest combination or not. But anyways, what order you guys?
I will counter that. Actually, I would do the reverse. I would watch, because I've watched Barbie already, but that's neither here nor there. I would watch Barbie first, have my laugh,
Barbie?
and then I have watched Barbie.
That's a whole other conversation to itself.
I would go Barbie first, enjoy myself, have a good time, and then, because if I watch Oppenheimer, I have a very strong feeling I'm going to go into Barbie like, and I don't feel it will cheer me up much, because I'll be like, nothing's worth anything anymore. So I would do funny and then go into serious, just so I don't have one affecting my, because I have absolutely no belief that Barbie is going to affect my ability to enjoy Oppenheimer. I very much believe that Oppenheimer is going to put me in a mood that I'm not going to enjoy Barbie. So that's my order. How about you, T?
I'd probably go Oppenheimer and then go home.
Nice. I like it.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the reviews for both films, including the audience scores, are officially out. So Barbie is currently stating for Rotten Tomatoes, it's 90% with 266 reviews, and an audience score of over 1,000 being 89%. For Oppenheimer, Oppenheimer has 265 reviews saying 94% from critics, and the audience with 500 is plus 500 is also 94. So let's just say that people go in it are enjoying themselves, but because I am a good friend, I am going to see what IMDb is saying, because that is what Tactics uses. Barbie is a lot higher than I thought it would be. 7.7 out of 10. Not that will change your mind, but something for you to maybe keep in mind in the future one day. And Oppenheimer, I appreciate you smiling and just like humoring me. Oppenheimer has a rating of 9 out of 10. So, the reviews for Barbie are mostly that it is not what people expected. And I will say, as someone who's watched it, I can completely attest to that. I had no idea what to expect when I was watching this movie, and when I was in the movie, I did not know where it was going. And but in a way that wasn't like, what the fuck is happening? More like, where are they going to take this? I was curious as where things were going. And as someone who's able to anticipate things, there was nothing about this I was able to anticipate.
I mean, the trailer doesn't give you an idea of what the story's about at all. And I think that's intentional. So.
Absolutely. This is not the greatest comparisons, but a true one. For Endgame, you remember that the trailers never showed more than the first like 20 minutes of the film, right? Exactly the same thing here. Literally everything you saw from the trailers were in the first like 15 to 20 minutes of the film.
Good to know.
That I haven't seen. That is hilarious.
I don't know which one I like more. I think
exactly.
I think I like the one on the right more, though. I think anything with action.
think I'm gonna go left.
Oh man. Wow.
Yo, T, did you find that?
Yeah.
That is dope. Okay. I lost my train of thought because sorry for those of you who can't who are listening to this. Tactics found this really hilarious and also beautiful Barbenheimer marketing thing where one is like a comic book and the other one is using La La Land's a poster as a dance between the two of them. Yeah, I have my tickets to watch Oppenheimer this weekend, but like for me, I cannot wait to watch Oppenheimer. With Barbie, I was very interested, very very interested. But like, I love Greta Gerwig. Don't get me wrong, but like Christopher Nolan has a direct line to my heart and my soul.
Okay, wow.
Yes, he gave me The Dark Knight, but like my man, like. I will love what he likes, what he gives me. But this looks like it's going to like blow me out of the fucking it's going to, yeah.
Interesting choice of words.
Yeah, I was. It would have been better if you just ended on like not out of just the part before that.
Okay, so Darce, are you planning on watching Barbie or no?
Probably when it hits Netflix.
Fair.
Like, I mean, unless somebody else wants to, really go see it. But right now, like, well, semi-announcement time. I won't be on the podcast for a few weeks because I'm going away on a trip, and so like I'm busy with like a lot of stuff and whatnot, and so I don't have a lot of time. So like, if I am able to sneak one movie in, especially while I'm in a different country, it's gonna be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, if I can intrigue one, unless we're there and people at the wedding party are like, oh, let's go see Barbie. Then yeah, I'll see Barbie. Like I'm not gonna be out here like being the Debbie Downer of the whole group, be like everyone wants to see Barbie on a wedding trip, and I'm like, no, let's go see Oppenheimer. Like I'm not that guy. like let's have everyone be depressed. For this.
Like Cuba?
I wasn't there.
Sorry.
We need a bros trip where I attend and was not broke. I'm not at that point in my life. It's all good. I still regret it. Don't get it. Like, stop rubbing it in. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued, but I'm not rushing. And so if something else brings me to it, otherwise I definitely will watch it. It'll just be on my own time, throw it on Netflix, and we'll find out if I'm watching it as a background thing or I'm so intrigued by it that I end up dedicating a period of time to it so I can focus. But yeah, and I'm really, really intrigued about Oppenheimer. I'm just hoping that it's financially successful long enough that by the time I come back from my trip, Umar, I could be like, yo, you want to go see it in IMAX again?
100%.
I just need to be in theater long enough. Because with Nolan doing an IMAX film and him being very particular about that, I would want to see it in IMAX just to see what that was all about, kind of a thing. So yeah.
My plan is that when you get back, the three of us go see Oppenheimer. Now, in terms of what you were saying about financially successful, not the whole weekend sales yet because like they're still happening, but Oppenheimer is pretty much sold out on IMAX and most of the screens, but close to sold out. Barbie is sold out. Currently the preview, like basically like the early earnings are Barbie's made already $20 million in the box office in North America.
Nice.
And Oppenheimer has made 12. Now, to put that into context, Barbie is demolishing The Flash right now. and Oppenheimer has already
not hard.
agreed. Oppenheimer is basically on the heels of The Flash after one day.
Yeah, that's hilarious though for The Flash. Like it's just like so bad. You know what though? I hope that happens. I really hope this happens in the next like week. Ryan Reynolds does an amazing job with his marketing company Maximum Effort of what he calls fast advertising, which is basically he takes something that's really, really the audience is already paying attention to. It's a popular topic, and then finds a way to like do an ad while it's popular and to promote something. He did that with the Peloton girl and the gin and his gin, where she had to go to the bar after the whole like what happened and have her drink to like what happened with like just like all the success or whatever. I would just love if Ryan Reynolds finds a way to get like Cillian Murphy and Margot Robbie into a commercial about something that just means nothing, just to have them in the same thing acting as each other. It just like it could just be about literally just like having a drink, and it's just stupidness. But just I really hope, because if he has something he needs to promote right now and he can get the two of them on the horn and like they agree to it, it's like, here's a funny concept. This is good. I'm only gonna need 35 minutes of your time, which is very fast acting. It's just the fact that you're here will mean everything. Like, and people will laugh about it. So
I'm just trying to think if there's any actors in Oppenheimer that are Canadian, because like Barbie has 3 Canadian guys as Kens in it, and I'm just wondering if Oppenheimer has, because then Ryan Reynolds can just like use the Canadian aspect and be like, here, I got one Canadian from one movie and another Canadian from another movie.
yeah, that's also a good point as well. Oh,
How about you, T? What are your expectations for Oppenheimer?
I got nothing to say, man. I'm just.
he doesn't want to see it.
You don't want to see Oppenheimer?
I do. I'm not rushing it. Is all. I'm like, yeah.
All right.
All right,
Yeah.
fair. All right. Well,
It's not Batman. Did you like Inception?
no, he liked
Inception.
he loved Inception and Interstellar. Okay, let me ask you this: were you hyped for Interstellar or Inception the same way you are for Oppenheimer?
No.
And by that I mean lack of hype.
No, Interstellar, I was curious. I wouldn't say it was overly hype. Inception, I was very intrigued by, because the whole dream aspect and the different levels was really interesting to me. And the way they shot it, and that corridor scene, still one of the best scenes in cinema to this day. So that was really captivating to me. In Nolan, I trust. Like he hasn't disappointed yet. So even his worst was still great. So
you know what though, with the Inception movie, that outside of like the Dark Knight, trilogy, Inception had something going for it that Doctor Strange stole, which was the folding of the city. Like how it folded on itself, and they put that into the trailer. And so once you saw that in the trailer, you had to be like, what is this? like, and you had to go watch the movie just to find out what was going on. And so that really sold it. And Oppenheimer has a lot going for it in this marketing, but it doesn't have like that moment. And Interstellar had some intriguing stuff in it, but I think it got more of a success after people were talking about it, compared to like Inception, like coming off the heels of, because it wasn't that off the heels of the Dark Knight series, or mixed in or something like that.
Yeah,
that movie?
Yeah, it was.
But when you saw that visual, everyone was like, "Yo, I'm gonna go watch this," because it was just so visually intriguing, and you're like, "What is this movie doing?"
Yeah, and Interstellar, I felt like it required a second viewing just to really understand it, because they delve into some really deep.
They went deep sci-fi.
Yeah, quantum physics and all of that shit, and it was like very, very heavy, and like you definitely need to watch it for a second time to really fully grasp what's going on.
What I'm finding fascinating from what the early reviews are saying for Oppenheimer, which has me both scared and also intrigued, is the fact that they're saying this movie, while not in any way scary, you come out feeling it's like it feels like you just watched a horror film, just because of how intense it was. And I'm like,
that's the most intriguing thing for me.
Yeah.
I want a visceral feeling, and and it reminds me of like when you're like a really young kid, back when movies were like, I'm gonna go like even before we were really like conscious, like 80s, 90s, right? When I'm not saying we weren't conscious, but you know what I mean. Like we're like little children, and when that point in time, when a movie was like going to like an amusement park. Like it was a really big thing, and
A whole
you
new
were
world.
going for feeling something. But I mean, even for people that were like in their 30s at that point, like it was a different, the way they would describe going to the movies is very different than how we describe it now. And, you know, going to Star Wars when it first came out for the very first time was a visceral experience for people, right? You know, going to see some of the old horror films is a visceral experience. You never felt
Batman.
anything like that. Yeah, original Batman, you never felt anything like that. And we get a lot of repetition now. And so when you see Oppenheimer say that they're going to give you an experience that you're like, I've never seen a movie that's not a horror film that gives me horror film vibes from something based off of reality. Oh, I'm intrigued as to what that visceral emotional what are the visceral emotions it's going to pull out of me that, you know, I don't know, the last Flash movie can't do.
And to that point, I think that's the issue that I have with a lot of the Marvel and DC movies going right now. This is kind of what we were alluding to earlier, where, you know, back when like the original Spider-Man came out, it enticed you because it was like it was almost like it was like the first of its kind, and you go in and it felt like an event because you're just like, wow, like it's like my childhood coming to life. And now because we've gotten so many of these movies that all kind of feel the same, you don't get that same experience, right?
Repeated.
Like, yeah, like with Endgame, like to Darcy's point, that was Infinity War, that was a visceral feeling because at the end of that movie you're like, wait, it ended like that.
Yeah.
No, and you walked out of there and you're like, what did I remember, I think I watched it with you guys and I was like, yo, what the fuck did I just watch? Like,
You didn't believe me. You kept thinking, you're like, yo, stop playing.
I was floored because I was just like, yeah, that's how they're ending it. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
And you were talking about it for however long until the next
like a
movie
straight
came, right?
year.
Yeah.
I think there was a straight year because like we had to watch Ant-Man and Captain Marvel in the meantime, and that was like 6 months between.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like certain movies are lacking, and it's like that's part of the whole movie going experience, and that's why you and I, Darcy, we go, like, we've made it a staple. We're like Fast and the Furious only in 4D because we want that experience. Even if the movie is shit, we want to walk out of there and be like, I had a great time, and this is a memorable experience that I'm going to cherish regardless of the quality of the movie. And so when you go in and you watch these movies, you want that same experience. You want it to impact you on an emotional level.
Yeah, if Vin Diesel doesn't give me whiplash, it ain't worth it.
Yeah. you gotta legitimately feel that shit.
Oh yeah.
The same with the Mission Impossible movies in a way, because like, and I would say to your port tactics, the reason why I still keep watching the Mission Impossible movies well after stopping with Fast and Furious is, aside from the fact that Tom Cruise is still risking his life to entertain us, so I'm like, yo, I'll buy a ticket for that. But also, like, yo, when he does shit, I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah. I watch Tom Cruise movies because of what he does.
Mm-hmm.
The stunts.
It's not. It's like, yeah, he's good. He's a good actor. He does a lot of cool stuff. It is his dedication to being the child who wanted to try all of these things and does it. I saw a behind the scenes clip where it was what's his name, Simon Pegg, when they're all standing around, all the actors, and what's her name from from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
Palm. Yeah, Palm. So like they're like, it's Palm and Simon Pegg, and Tom Cruise is on the ramp doing the motorcycle stunt, and he's like, "Can we do this every film?" And it just goes off the cliff, and they're all like laughing, but it's like nervous laughter because it's like every time he does it, he could die.
He could die.
Right? It's very real. They're like, it's like ha 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 ha, like right? And you're like, yeah, that's a lot.
I forgot which Mission Impossible it was, but the one where he has to do the deep diving on in the water, and he has to hold his breath.
Oh
man, talk about a visceral feeling. Like, I have a thing with water. Like, watching like people drowning, it gives me like super anxiety. So watching that scene was stressing me the fuck out. But like, again, it's a visceral experience that that is happening in real time, and you're just like, oh my god.
I always hold my breath when I watch someone go underwater. I hold my breath, seeing if I can go.
Bro.
And like, I had to breathe like 4 times the whole time he was in that thing. I'm
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
So we just need more experiences, more posing questions that have hard answers, and less paint by numbers our way through this, and I could have told you the story without showing up to the theater.
Yeah.
Or show us a trailer that tells us the entire story.
Yeah. Either teach me something, make me think, or make me feel something.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and not something I've already feel, or I forgot the third one.
Know, feel, or thought.
Think, yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's just think and thought of the same thing. But anyway.
Well, teach you something, make you think,
right.
and then
learn, thought, feel.
Yeah. And most films are I'm learning the same thing over again, thinking the same thoughts over again, feeling the same feelings all over again. Nothing is changing. And it needs to be new.
Just a final thought. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, but like the reason why I felt No Way Home was a more meaningful film, aside from everything else, is unlike other superhero films going on of recent times, including The Flash, No Way Home had Spider-Man, like Tom Holland Spider-Man, actually doing the hard thing to be a hero. Mm-hmm. Not because he wanted to be a hero, because he felt it was the right thing to, like the objectively, unequivocally the right thing to do. And it's like, I gotta save these people, even though they're villains. Fuck pragmatism.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right, volleying back to UT for our closing remarks.
All right. Well, this has been another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. We want to thank you guys, as always, for tuning in wherever you are, whether you're listening on Spotify or you're watching here live or watching later. We thank you. Please like, favorite, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm your boy Tactics.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
And this is Big Geek Kumar. Live long and prosper, y'all.
Were you posing just now? Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh.